Hello and welcome to the Upgrade the World podcast. I'm your host Josh, and in this episode I will be talking about L402. L402, previously known as LSAT, is short for Lightning HTTP 402 Protocol. The protocol, introduced in 2020, is a standard for payment-metered APIs. The L402 Lightning API keys provide a way to authenticate users and charge for services in distributed networks. L402 combines the HTTP 402 Payment Required Status Response Code, Google's Macaroons, and the Bitcoin Lightning Network to create a way to allow users to authenticate and make payments without needing a central database. As discussed in episode 31, the L402 protocol allows global micropayments for paid APIs. L402 integrates the 402 Payment Required Status Code that was defined in the original HTTP 1.1 standard. Section 6.5.2 of RFC 7231, released in June 2014, simply states the 402 Payment Required Status Code is reserved for future use. Today, the 402 status code is generally used for subscription-based and e-commerce systems. Subscription renewals, digital products, and paywalls are examples where the 402 status code is used to inform a user that access to the content or services they are requesting is restricted until a payment is made. Macaroons are an integral part of L402. You're probably already familiar with web cookies, which are small pieces of information that allow a website to recognize a user and their preferences. A macaroon is a fancy version of a web cookie. Both web cookies and macaroons are a form of bearer credentials. However, unlike a cookie, a macaroon can be validated cryptographically by the issuer. Alternatively, the issuer can delegate verification to someone else. No central database is required for verification, as only the root keys are needed to verify the macaroon. Macaroons can also contain their own permissions, which the API endpoint can read and then execute the request accordingly after verification. Once a macaroon is created, its permissions can only be reduced. Using embedded caveats, macaroons can confine the context in which a macaroon is valid. Examples of caveats might be limiting the allowed operations on the target service, limiting the objects that can be accessed, or requiring the user to be logged in or belonging to a particular group. Caveats can be first-party, meaning they are asserting context rules against the target service, or third-party, where they are asserting context rules against another service. A macaroon contains an identifier to differentiate between macaroons, a location that identifies the service where the macaroon originated, a series of caveats that can find the context, and a signature that can be used to verify the macaroon hasn't been changed. The signature is a chained HMAC, or hash-based method authentication code. The Lightning Network, covered in detail in Episode 7, is a decentralized network using smart contract functionality in the blockchain to enable instant payments across a network of participants. So now that we've covered HTTP 402, Macaroons, and the Lightning Network, how do L402s work? An L402 is a macaroon together with the pre-image of a Lightning Network payment. L402 macaroons have some required characteristics. L402 macaroons must contain a version, a unique user identifier, and a payment hash, which is used to link a Lightning invoice payment request to the macaroon. The macaroon is sent over HTTP to the user together with a Lightning invoice and contains the payment hash of the invoice as a caveat. After payment, the user needs to present the macaroon and the corresponding pre-image, which is obtained by paying the Lightning Network invoice. Receiving the macaroon together with the pre-image guarantees that the payer has made the payment. Using the root key used to create the original macaroon, the server can verify each line of the macaroon, including the caveats, to ensure the caveats were correctly amended and that the macaroon was issued by the proper authority. In the final step, the pre-image is verified against the payment hash in the macaroon to make sure all outstanding invoices have been paid. That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep upgrading.